America TV. My name is Aninda. I'm one of the guests here in At America. It's really nice to see you all. We hope you all doing well and staying safe at home. For those of you who just joined us for the first time, At America is the U.S. Embassy's American Center, and our mission is to provide a space for young Indonesians to learn more about the United States. We have moved temporarily to a digital platform so you can enjoy our event from the comfort of your own home. This episode will be discussing writing a statement of purpose for U.S. grad school applications with EducationUSA at America. By the way, did you know, as a continuation of our 10th anniversary celebration, we are having a very special activity each month with different giveaways. This August, we have Academania, in which we are giving out a voucher for the TOEFL IBT test and another American standardized test of your choice. To know more and how to join this activity, please visit atam.tv/academania. And now, for those of you who are already in the race, are you ready for our first keyword? The first keyword can be found by going to this link below, atam.tv/academania1. Once again, atam.tv/academania1. Remember, this link is time limited, so the sooner you get it, the better. Good luck. In the meantime, let's break the ice with a little trivia. The question for today is, true or false, when writing a statement of purpose, or SOP, it must have a title. If you already know the answer, you can start typing your answer through our chat box or social media, because in the end of the event, we will do a live shout-out for those of you who can guess the answer correctly. Other than that, don't forget to take a selfie and tag at America's Instagram account. Without further ado, I would like to invite our moderator for today, Mbak Vina Alatas, Education USA at America Advisor. Time is yours.
All right, thank you so much, Anin. Hi, everyone. Welcome to At America TV. My name is Vina. I'm one of the advisors for Education USA based in At America. And of course, I would like to say hi to everyone who is watching this session currently from so many different platforms. I am right now with the whole At America team, and there are some people who are here with us in Zoom. But then, of course, At America is so amazing because we're not only here in Zoom, but we are on so many different platforms. We are currently live on Facebook, Twitter, we are on Instagram, we are also on YouTube. So some of you are probably watching the session from that platform. Feel free to stay there. Feel free to ask any questions or comments in that chat or comment sections. We have an amazing At America team who will make sure all of those will be compiled to one file so that later on I can take a look at that. All right, I'm very excited for this event tonight, of course, because we are going to talk about writing a statement of purpose. And this is special for you guys who wants to continue your master's or PhD in the US. If there is any of you who is currently still in high school and you're watching this session, let us know, just shout out, because although this session is specifically for master's and PhD, but I'm pretty sure this information can also you can also learn from this session tonight, okay? If you are here in Zoom, I already have my colleague Santika, who will be basically interact with you guys during my talk. I no longer say during my presentation because I've been doing this new style for, I think, the third month now. This is our third month, where basically I'm not going to give you any presentation slides. And so think of this session as almost kind of like a podcast. I will try my best to cover basically, as many as possible. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask in Zoom. Santika will interact with you. And then after my talk is done, we'll spare some time to take a look on some of your questions together. Okay. Also, another tips is that during my talk, I will basically give some tips here and there. So you probably want to kind of jot down some of my tips. All right. And you know what? Let's just dive right into it. Okay. Let's start just assuming that, this is your first time joining the session and still kind of, not really sure what is the statement of purpose. I know that I need to write an essay for my applications to continue my master's degree, but then why does EducationUSA at America has this session? All right, so let's take a look at it together. Okay, so the first part of the session will be basically kind of, I'm trying to tell you in general what statement of purpose is and why is it important. And then the second part of this session will be we're going to talk about aspect on exactly, right, the right statement of purpose. Okay, so what statement of purpose? Okay, why is it called an SOP? Is it an essay, like how we would normally think what an essay, and what is a normal or general essay that we normally think when it comes to an essay? Okay, so let's see first what other essay looks like. Usually when it comes to writing an essay, you want to write an autobiography, something that is centric on being a narrative, right? Talking about yourself. Maybe you can start from where did you graduate from, and then now you're maybe currently doing an internship, or maybe you are working in a certain company. And then another thing about the normal essay that we normally think when it comes to an essay is you are writing a letter. So maybe a term of motivation letter sounds familiar for you guys. Or maybe something that, basically you want to show yourself off, right? I finished college here. I graduated with this GPA. I did an intern here after that, or during my study, I did an intern here. I did an intern here and there. I'm currently working at this company. I won this award. I won that competition. I want this, whatever it is, like accomplishment that you guys have. So basically, it's about me, 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 me. Who some of you think about that when it comes to an essay? Please say it in the chat if you're here in Zoom or wherever else you're watching the session from. Now, I hate to break this up to you guys, because when it comes to writing a statement of purpose, SOP, it's none of that. So if up until now you're thinking, oh yeah, that's like what writing an essay is about, right? Like we talk about myself, like I need to show off to the university, who am I, right? So that they can see the kind of accomplishment that I have, right? None of that. I hate to break it up to you, it's none of that, okay? And I hate to give a big axe when you come to decide to see me one-on-one during the one-on-one advising, because at the same time, I will have to be very honest with you, right? So, but at the same time, this is actually quite normal for people when they come see me and then they share their first draft. And then I hate to give it a big axe because, again, I have to be very honest. And then usually I will say to people that you will have to do, a major revision. So if there are some of you who have been watching the session before, or maybe you have done an advising with me before, you will find it familiar when I said that word, major revision, minor revision. I don't know if Santika has, some other words when her advices come in, and then basically another way of us saying that, instead of saying like, oh my God, this essay is so not right, like you got to change it, I just come up with, this is going to be a major revision. So every time you hear me saying that, it means that I expect you to come up with another draft that is completely new from the first draft that you shared with me. And the thing is that the fact that you are watching this session right now is going to save your time, because now you will know that, oh, okay, now I understand what statement of purpose is. Okay, so before I actually dive right into, getting deeper, talking about statement of purpose, I basically also want to tell you that actually, but probably, you know what, I don't know, probably after I say what I'm about to say, you guys will maybe leave this session or something, I don't know, hopefully not. But what I'm trying to say is there is actually no specific rule when it comes to essay writing. It's not like the US universities have this kind of like rule, like, okay, so this is, what you want to write when it comes to an essay. There is none of that. However, I've been doing this for about 5 to 6 years, and I kind of like call it my recipe over the years, the recipe that is not done yet, and I don't think it will be done. So this is an ongoing recipe, but I found that this recipe that I kind of like found over the years from learning from advices, learning from you guys, learning from past advisees, this is the kind of structure that I found a somewhat high, I want to say, acceptance rate. Although we cannot also say that that would be the only one that makes you get accepted, but I would say that it plays a huge role. Okay, But yeah, technically you can still get accepted with a resume approach, something that I said, like writing an autobiography centric on being a narrative, writing a letter, mentioning all their accomplishments. There are some people who still get accepted writing that kind of essay. However, I also see a lot of people get rejected writing that kind of essay. Okay, so again, no guarantee even that when you come see me or see Santika that you are definitely 100% going to get accepted, but we see that the success rate of people, discuss with us, work with us together on the essay is quite high. Okay, and so this is probably enough time for you to decide, do you want to come see me or not? And then another thing is also that this is going to be challenging, and maybe later on I will want to kind of have a session where I invite my current advisees who are in the middle of having their essays in the process of writing an essay, so that they can also share with us their opinion about it. And I'm telling you, a lot of my advisors found it like frustrated in a way, like, oh my god, like I don't know how to actually write this. But I'm telling you, this is what we are here for, this is what I'm here for, this is what Santika is here for. We are going to guide you on that. Okay, it's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worth it. Okay, and then another thing is that because a lot of us think that writing an essay is very easy, right? Remember, like when I said, oh, just an autobiography and all that, it gets to the point where people just forget that it's called a statement of purpose for a reason, right? They just see statement of purpose equal to essay, and then essay equals to an autobiography. But we don't want any of that, right? They say that they are called statement of purpose for a reason. It's about you making a statement of your purpose. So basically, if I can summarize this whole event tonight into one sentence, is that, well, when someone asks me, so what is SOP? What is this event is all about? All I can say is basically you want to write something where you can tell the universities, what do you want out of this program? Let me say it again. In the SOP is all about you explaining to the readers, which is the university, the admissions committee, what do you want out of this program? What do you want out of this major, whatever it is that you are aiming for, LLM, chemical engineering, MBA, public policy, what have you, right? Basically, we can end this session now, right? But then, of course, we don't want to end it because I'm going to tell you exactly how to write that, okay? So again, that being said, it's called the statement of purpose for a reason, and now you know, okay? And we have this event basically every single month. So again, that you can save your time so you don't write the kind of essays that we normally think when it comes to an essay, right? Because like I said earlier, when you give me that kind of draft, I'm going to give you a big axe. The session will be very brief. Usually I will tell you, have you watched the session that we have every single month? If you said yes, I will be like, but why are you still writing like this? All right. But if you said you have not watched the session, I'm going to let you, I'm going to share with you the link so that you can watch it first. Okay. So yeah, and I can't stress it enough. And probably I will say this over and over again during my talk, that you do not want to underestimate this particular document, the particular requirement from the universities, okay? Do not underestimate the statement of purpose. I'm saying this every single month because I have this event every single month. I've been saying this since January, and I'm going to say it again now. So it's kudos to you who started early. So I still remember when I gave this presentation back in January of this year, and then people found it, they understand the whole thing, but statement of purpose, and they come see me, and they come see Santika right away, despite the fact that their resume is still, I don't know, like maybe next month or the end of the year, or maybe even next year. But they already started writing since January when I had this event and I said it, do not underestimate. Now, if you are watching this for the first time, just because, you know what, I have my deadline next month, and then I, happen to see this EducationUSA having the session about statement of purpose. So I'm going to watch it this month, August, right? And then your deadline is next month. If you are one of those people, I'm just going to say it to you now, you should be in a panic mode. But again, don't worry. When you understand this, when we are finished with this session, start making the draft, and then still come see me or Santika, okay? And then before we dive even deeper, I just want to give you a heads up. Santika and we don't do scholarship essays. So if you are here thinking about, oh yeah, I want to apply for Fulbright next year, or I want to prepare myself for, when the LPDP application is open up, whenever that is, right? And then I'm gonna need Sina or Santika to take a look at it. We do not do scholarship essays. For Fulbright, it's case by case, but it's safe for me to say right now that we don't do scholarship essays. We only do essays that is specifically for US universities. US universities, meaning that if you're applying elsewhere, you don't want to come see us, right? Okay, so if essay is about taking the same information from the resume or CV, if you ask me right now, like, why do we have this session every month? Why do people come see me or Santika, for a one-on-one session? Probably because you're still thinking about essay being quite, like easy and simple and all that, right? But I think about it. If essay is about taking the same information from resume or CV, when it's just basically, like all facts, then what's the point of EducationUSA America advisors checking on your essay, right? Think about it. You have all this factual information in the CV. You got your, university information in there, the GPA if you have it, and then the companies that you currently worked on or in the past or what have you. What part on the essay do you need checking on from me or from Santika, right? If you're thinking, well, you can take a look at my grammar, right? The answer would be like a big no. So this is also another heads up, if just in case this is also your first time. Santika and we do not check on your grammatical errors. Well, the reason is, well, obvious. We are both not native English speakers. We are both Indonesians. I personally, I don't feel comfortable and I don't feel confident enough to check on your grammatical errors. And I just don't see it's just simply not the service that we provide you. On the contrary, like what we do here is to basically assist you with the structure of that essay, because the statement of purpose itself, by now you already know it's just very different, right? It's just different than any other essays that we normally know. Okay, so now let's kind of like get a little bit more technical a little bit. Now you know what is statement of purpose, and then we're also going to take a look at what the university is looking for exactly when it comes to the essay, and obviously, and how to write one. With me going to emphasize mostly on the introduction part of the essay. I'm not going to discuss the whole thing. Well, I will, but then I will emphasize a little bit more on the introduction section. Okay. Now, if you kind of like curious, because I was curious also in the beginning, why other countries essays is just different than the statement of purpose. Why is it just different with the statement of purpose, right? The way I look at it, I may not have like the right answer, and I don't think there is like one concrete answer to this, but the way I look at it is because essay is not really crucial in other countries, because they are heavily mostly on academic, meaning that they want to see more on your GPA, on your basically your academic performance, right? If you are also still thinking like that when it comes to applying to US, and actually still see a number of advisees, focusing so much on the academic achievements, not on just a number, like GRE score. Oh my God, I need to get like a certain GRE scores. I need to make sure that I get like this GPA, or I don't want to apply to these universities because my GPA is not that good. So focusing on academic achievement, I want you to change that right now, right? The keyword here is holistic. If you watch this session over and over again, other events, other EducationUSA events, I will throw this word quite often. Holistic, holistic, holistic. It means that the universities normally going to kind of like take a look of all of the documents, not just like on specific requirements. However, essay is definitely going to play a huge role. Okay, why? Because they really want to get to know you personally. And then I would say that essay would be the only document where you can do that, right? Think about it. Basically, all the other requirements is something that is there already, like to the point where you cannot probably like change it. So if you graduated 2, 3, 5 years ago, you can't really change the GPA, right? Or if you have done your best for preparing your GRE or GMAT or what have you, and then you get a number of certain scores, that scores will be there no matter what, right? Like maybe you can keep improving, but maybe not so much. But then when it comes to essay, it's something that you can always keep like, improving, tell new stories if you have, and all that, right? So remember this, the university does really want to get to know you personally, and as well as wanting to know your purpose. Okay, I've been in this field for a while. I just don't really see it from other countries, to the point where other countries, they do not care on why are you picking this particular program, what do you want to use this program for. They don't care any of that. On the contrary, US universities, they really do want to know that. In fact, probably it's one of their what do you call that, ways to, whether or not they want to accept you, by knowing what do you want to use this program for. Okay, so it's not about GPA or other things that we don't have any control over. So again, you do not want to underestimate. This one preparation is the one thing that you do not want to procrastinate on. Trust me. Okay. And plus, when you start early, so hopefully you are watching the session, or maybe you can share it in Zoom chat. When is the deadline for your application, right? So we have a kind of like a better idea on, if you should be in a panic mode or you're kind of like in a save mode. But if you start early, and this is, I'm just going to say it, you can have a break from writing essays with me, because from what I heard from people, I don't do easy when it comes to essay. So I want you to be bold. I have a really high expectation, no matter what universities in the US that you're applying. Is it mid-tier, low tier, high tier? I basically have high expectation, okay, when it comes to essay. So it's not about you go to us, and it's not just business like, hey, Fina, this is my essay, and I review it and then bye. But it's about us working together, right? If you have any concern, if you have any difficulties, that's what we are here for. So we brainstorm together, okay? I will pay attention to every sentence in your essay, okay? And if you procrastinate, and I'm telling you, it's hard to see us, okay? Probably there are, I don't know, 50 of you currently watching the session, and probably some of you have the same deadline, because there are a lot of deadlines starting next month, September, October, November, December, all the way until March next year. This is like a really crucial time right now. And let's say there are 50 of you right now watching this session, and then you're all saying, I got to see Fina, I got to see Fina, I got to see Fina, times 50, but then there's only one me. And then there is so much that I can do that I have to basically say no to some other people, right? And another thing is, when you are seeing me, or I don't know, but Santika, probably we can talk about it because we have different style, but I don't limit the session. When you got to see me during the one-on-one session, I'm not looking at the time. We can have as many time as possible, but then of course I have my shift hours. So when it comes that, when my shift hours ended, and then there are still, 3, 4 of you, and that happened a lot actually in the past, I will have to say to you guys that, hey, sorry, I can't see you because the time is up. All right, so definitely pay attention to the timing, okay? Right, now let's talk about the essay itself. Now the question would be, probably you're kind of like, oh my God, what is this session? Why does this sound like very scary? So is it hard? So the answer is, understanding the structure in the beginning is yes, because again, this is something that not a lot of us actually realize how different statement of purpose is. So yeah, understanding the structure in the beginning is, yes, it is quite difficult. But then once you understand, when you come see me, once you're done listening to me this tonight, and then you prepare the outline, and then especially if you have already good writing skills, you're pretty much good to go. Go see me or go see Santika. We brainstorm together, okay? And what usually happen on the first session? Well, a lot of things. There are some people that come see us and they just kind of like share the story first, but then they don't, or maybe they don't come to see us via Zoom because they don't feel confident in sharing their draft, and that's okay. No pressure here, right? Whenever you are ready. But then, usually when you have the draft, you can share it, and then you can say that I'm like the very honest person, because I want you to also be successful in the essay writing. So if I think that the essay is not there yet, I'm gonna say it. Okay, so it can be either I say major revision or minor revision, right? And usually I will ask you, have you guys attended this session? If the answer is no, I usually wouldn't really like move forward with this session, but then I will tell you, hey, why don't you watch the session first? I mean, I could do it during the one-on-one session, but then, well, I have this live session and then it's going to be up on YouTube. I will save my time by repeating to every advisees, by asking them to watch this session. So the fact that you guys are watching this session, I thank you very much, and you should be proud of yourself for, like sparing your time So that is going to save your time a lot. Okay. Another tips that before, so like I said earlier, I have like a number of tips that is kind of like scattered around during my talk. So if you want to jot down this, put it on your phone, some kind of like a reminder, that would be great. But something to think about. If right now you're thinking about, oh, okay, I'm applying to 5 universities, does that mean I'm writing 5 different essays? The answer is no. One essay. We are going to work together where we are going to, I call it the foundation essay. So it's going to be one essay that we can actually use to multiple campuses. There will be a part where we're going to change it and customize it to individual programs. But basically, the majority of the content of the essay, of the story itself, is going to be the same. Okay, unless you are applying to different programs. Okay, so one essay to only one campus, or maybe you're not thinking about applying to only one campus in the US, is going to be, I want to say, unfortunate, and maybe you want to rethink that again, because like I said, I don't do easy. This journey of essay writing with us will be very, very difficult, challenging, and what have you, but it's going to be worth it. So start thinking to kind of like adding number of universities in the US. Okay. So right now, let's ask this important question. So Fina, who is actually going to read my essay? Why do you make it so hard that I don't feel like writing anymore? But it's really important because, well, we want to study in the US, right? So who's actually reading this essay? So obviously it's the admissions committee, but you will want to also understand that US universities, they are very decentralized, meaning that multiple or different departments, although it is under one universities, each department has their own regulation, right? And so if you're applying to, an MBA program at campus A, right? For that particular MBA, for that particular business department, they have their own regulation on, basically whatever it is that they're asking. And so the people who are in that department is actually going to be the one who's reading your essay. So for example, like if you're applying for an aerospace engineering, something that is very specific, right? People in the engineering department, or maybe if they even have a very specific, aerospace engineering, they are going to be the one who's reading your essay. So can we say that they are the expert of aerospace engineering? The answer is definitely yes. So this is really important to understand, right? You want to write something that sounds that you are the expert of that topic. You are not writing an essay to someone like me who doesn't understand about aerospace engineering. And I will catch that. I catch that a lot, actually. Even though I don't understand about science, I don't understand about certain things, certain topic, I can catch a number of sentences or a number of statements where I think, it sounds really general. If any expert reading, and then usually I ask you, if someone who is expert in this topic read this, do they already know? And then a lot of my advisors are saying, yeah, they already know. So then we don't want to say it anymore, right? We don't want to lecture them. We don't want to say things that they already know. So maybe this is something that you want to kind of like write down, me imagining if I'm the audience. This would be something that I would write down. Do not write something that they already know. Okay. Another thing to also, and this is also very important, and some people found it surprising, and I actually was surprised when the first time I read this, is that these people in this department, not all of them actually going to read all of our essays. Let me say it again. Not all of them are going to read all of our essays. And then there are 2 types of people who will react differently when I say this fact. One who would think, oh, they're not reading the whole session. They're not reading the whole essay. Okay, well, I don't have to write a good essay then if they're not going to read the whole thing. And then there's another type of people who will think, no way, that is unacceptable. I want them to read all of my essay. And so which one are you? So hopefully you're the second one, because that's basically what we want to go to. The fact that a lot of these people are not going to read the whole thing, we do not want that. We want these people to read the whole thing. And this is why now you probably will kind of, now I understand why Fina said, this is, I don't do easy, right? This is going to be very challenging, because again, I have my own expectation, and it's actually kind of like in a high bar when it comes to essay. Okay. That being said, what does that mean though? Like when the fact that they're not going to read the whole thing, by that statement alone, it means that the way I look at it, and this is again one of my recipes that I found throughout the years, it makes the first paragraph or the introduction paragraph or the opening paragraph, whichever you want to call it, it makes that paragraph very important. Like maybe if you're writing this down, you probably want to put that in all capital, right? Like it's so important. Opening paragraph is so important. Why? Because, well, they're not going to read the whole thing. So if we already start the story with something that is so boring to them, and what is boring to them, I will tell you. And that's kind of like my guess and my assumption, which I think it's, right, because I've been doing this again like for a while now. If we do that, like if they don't like the first part, they're not going to read the next paragraph, right? Obviously. So we don't want that. So I'm also very specific when it comes to the structure, right? Again, like I said, because I try to find, like, I keep improving my recipe, but then I also at the same time come up with the structurized paragraph where we have a specific introduction paragraph, a number of bodies paragraphs, depending on the words limit, if any, from the universities, and then we have conclusion. So we don't want to have too many paragraphs. And this is something that a lot of us, especially when people come see me for the first time, never watching the session before, the normal essay, like I said in the very beginning, right? A lot of us don't really pay attention to paragraphs. You just write whatever you want, how many paragraphs, how many long paragraphs that you have. Sometimes people come see me with the first paragraph with about like 3 lines, and then the next paragraph have like about 10 lines, and then the next paragraph have about 5 lines. It's scattered, it's not neat, and I will say, and I'm overwhelmed by reading it. So when I read your draft, you can kind of think of me as the admissions committee or from the universities, and I'm going to read the essays from 2 different angles. One, as if I'm an admissions committee, minus the expertness, but I will kind of like put myself in a position as if I don't know anything about your story, where you're from, and all that. But then I will also kind of like have my other point of view, and that's me as an Indonesian, as probably know a little bit about the country, about the situation, about what is going on the ground. So it's a win-win situation, right? So I will pay attention to that. I will pay attention to how many paragraphs that you have, right? And then this is something that I'm going to talk more even deeper. The point here is that you, at the end of this essay sessions, right, I want you to write a statement of purpose that no other people can write. Let me say this again. So there are actually a number of sentences that I like to repeat over and over again here. It's just because it sounds simple, but it's really important. And once you actually really understand that, it will make a lot of things actually easier. Okay. So I'm going to repeat this again. You will want to write a statement of purpose that no other people can write. And I'm saying this in a literal word, like no other people can write. So if you right now watching the session with your friends, maybe not together, but you want to kind of like apply to the same program, let's say, I don't know, like public policy with the same universities, right? You do not want, and this is your BFF that we're talking about, right? You do not want, you guys, the 2 of you want to make sure that you are not going to end up with the same statement of purpose, okay? I want you to kind of create a one-of-a-kind essay, one-of-a-kind introduction paragraph, okay? The reason is because we do not, now the fact that this admissions committee is not going to read the whole thing, we want to write a very unique, very different introduction paragraph so that there is no chance for the admissions committee / the reader to consider your application. We don't want them to end up reading your essay and then they will question, not sure if this is a good story. I think I just read a couple of essays before this that is actually more interesting. We don't want that. We want the reader to, like, when they're done reading your essay, they'll be like, that's it. This is the person that I want. So maybe if some of you are like, oh my God, how am I doing that? And then don't forget, we're talking about hundreds, if not thousands of applicants. And then you are going to be one of the applicants where they are able to say that, right? This is it. I want this person. We need this person for our campus. Okay. And it's getting more technical, guys. So hopefully you're taking notes, or if I'm talking too fast, or there's some part of my talk that you don't really catch, please let us know. Don't worry, I'm trying to spare about 20-30 minutes for Q&A so that we can, discuss together. Okay, so how you can actually do that, right? Now you understand, okay, now I get it. We got to write a very, very important introduction paragraph. How do I actually really start, right? And I actually really love the quiz of the day for this essay. Is there a title for when you write an SOP? I'm going to say like the answer to that, but maybe you want to say it in the chat. What is the answer to that? But basically, when you started writing an essay, especially when you like start to kind of making the introduction paragraph, it will be it's not very easy. It will be easier if you can come up with a theme, or you can come up with a topic. So in fact, this would be the first thing that I'm going to find when I read your draft. So this comes back to the one of the questions that I asked, earlier. What usually happen in the first session, right? So what usually happen is that I'm going to read your draft. I'm going to skim it, your essay. I'm not going to read the whole thing very carefully. That's going to be like later, but I'm going to read really quickly, trying to find the topic. And then I'm going to ask you when I'm done, I'll be saying, so you want to talk about this. So you want to fix this. Oh, you want to start this for the country, or you want to, change this policy or whatever. And then if you say yes, that means you are successfully have your topic in there. But then if you say, no, not quite that, it means you are not successfully make me understand what you want to talk about, right? So I will find that in the first time I read your essay. So having a theme or topic, it would be really, really important. So what do I mean exactly by theme and topic? So this comes back to what statement of purpose is. So I saw in just real quick here in the chat, I kind of like, multitasking here. I there's someone kind of like saying, hey, sorry, I'm late. So maybe you missed the first part. Basically, if you're missing the first part, you're kind of like going to miss the whole thing. You will find this talk going to be kind of like, what are you talking about? But don't worry, you can definitely watch again the session, because once we are done, this is going to be up on YouTube. Okay, but just try to get along with the session. But yeah, so what I mean by having a theme or having a topic, this comes back to understanding what statement of purpose is, right? In the beginning, I said statement of purpose is basically the universities is trying to understand what are you trying to do with this? What are you trying to get out of this program? It's about, is this as simple as you making a statement about your purpose? Purpose is being the key word here. So that's why they call it statement of purpose, right? So you want to think about, why do I want to study LLM in human rights? Why do I want to study MBA specifically in entrepreneurship? Why do I want to study aerospace engineering? Why do I want to study public policy in concentration of yada, 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 right? Ask yourself that, and then think about, what is it? You wanna change a policy? What is actually really going on, right? Assuming that you are watching this are Indonesians, or even if you're not Indonesians, right? Wherever it is that you're watching this from, what is it about the country, if that's what you want to, come back to and, do something for the country. If you're watching this session and you said, oh no, I'm not coming back to Indonesia or whatever, I'm going, staying in the US, well, that's going to be a different story. I can't really help you much with the essay. But so far, I want to say that 99.87% of my advisees, you guys are all coming back to Indonesia, and the reasons you want to write this essay, the reasons why you want to do master's or PhD is because you want to do something for the country. It doesn't always have to be about a country. Maybe a country sounds like too big and you kind of like, what, it has to be a country? No, it can be like a community. It can be like a certain geography in Indonesia. Maybe you want to just kind of like talk about, I want to fix the traffic jam in Jakarta. I want to fix flooding problem in Jakarta. And actually have that kind of advice in the past. However big the spectrum of this topic, at least you need to come up with a topic. What is it that you want to do? Oh, I want to fix this. I want to end up helping the government or pushing the government to change this policy. Oh, I want to better our aerospace engineering industry. Oh, I want to work alongside the government so that we have better human rights. Whatever it is, right? And then again, it will come back also. So it's all connected. It will come back to you writing a story that no other people can write. And I know you'll be like, how is it possible that I will write something that no other people can write? You know what? To be completely honest with you, I don't know. But seriously, for the past 5-6 years that I met hundreds of advisees coming to see me for an essay, none of you actually ever written an essay with the exact same topic or the exact same focus, right? Maybe the general topic, maybe talking about like industry 4.0, or maybe fixing the data, maybe increasing the data scientists in Indonesia and whatever. Maybe there are some people who are going to write the same thing, but then the exact story, the exact topic, I want to say, is just different. Okay. And so yeah, when I see your essay, you probably also want to pay attention to my gesture, because I love reading essays, guys. Just to tell you, maybe you can already like, duh, like it's very obvious. That's why I have this every month. But then you can see my gesture when I read your essay. Maybe you have, I tell you that, sorry, this is going to be a major revision. And then you're going to kind of like, we end the session, probably you will come back next week, or maybe, a couple of weeks after that. And then you redo the whole thing. And then you give me like a new essay, a new draft. And then you will see me, like if I really love it, I'm going to smile, I'm going to nod. If not, I will be like having, so, you kind of like also want to kind of like pay attention to that. But, back to like the essay itself, when you're kind of like trying to kind of like figure out what is it that you want to try, what you want to write, on top of having a theme or topic, you can also ask the simple questions. Maybe also this is something that you want to kind of like write down on your phone or what have you. Ask yourself, why are you pursuing master's degree? Right? Why are you pursuing master's degree? The majority of my advisees already know the answer. They just don't expect that answer. They have it in their head. And I'm pretty sure 99%, I'm pretty sure you guys already know why you want to do a master's degree for, PhD for, but you just don't expect that reason on the why you're pursuing it is to be written in the essay. And then now you see me, you attend the session, me telling you that there are a specific structure, you have to put it, why are you pursuing master's degree? That makes it kind of like hard, because writing this statement of purpose is hard, but you already know it. So then you can ask yourself, why am I pursuing master's degree? Who am I trying to help here? I want to help the government. I want to push the government so that we can have better human rights, for example. Who am I? Who are you trying to help in this context? Well, people in Indonesia who have their human rights violated, right? Or if it's not directly to people, what am I trying to help? So, for example, my advisees who are in science department, right? Like maybe they want to do aerospace engineering, chemical engineering, what have you. It's not like direct to people, right? But then they want to fix the industry. They want to improve the industry. Right? And then also ask yourself, what is my ending goals? Or what is my mission here? So it's no longer about, again, like if you're here from the beginning, it's no longer about talking about myself. Probably at this point, if you're new, you probably will be like, wait, so where's the me part? I'm not talking about myself here. And the answer is no, sorry, you're not. But on the contrary, when we are not focusing so much about yourself, but instead we're talking about the situation of the country or the situation of this specific I don't know, if we're talking about Jakarta or whatever, where you're from, maybe your hometown, the fact alone that you want to fix that, or you want to whatever you want to do with it, it's already showed the kind of person that you are. So that's like the you part in there, without you actually showing off. I graduated here. I graduated with this GPA. I worked at this amazing company for whatever, and I did this. I had this position. I won this award. I won that competition and whatever. They don't want to know any of that, is because it's already in the resume, guys, right? The reason, again, like, let me repeat this again. The reason is other countries outside the US, like literally other countries outside the US, is okay by you writing that kind of essays, is because, like I said, as blunt as it sounds, they just simply don't care. They don't care what you want to do. That's why they don't call it statement of purpose. That's why they call it, what is it? Motivation letter, Santika? Have you heard that a lot? We don't call that letter in the US. We don't call it statement, motivation letter or whatever. They call it statement of purpose, right? Let's see. I have my cheat sheet here. Yeah, and then so during me reading your essay, right, I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. And this is why I said that this session, when you are going to see me or Santika one-on-one, it's not like just business-like. It's not just like me reading your essays and then giving you reviews and done with it. But then again, we are going to work on this together. So I'm going to be very careful, right? I'm going to ask you a lot of questions. Why are you doing this? Oh, really? How is that even possible? Wait, where's the government in this? Oh, the government is doing this and that. Why are they doing it? Why didn't they do it earlier? When did this happen? What happens in the past? And all that questions, right? And then sometimes your answers is so good verbally, right, that you don't even like put it in the essay. Or if you don't put it in the essay, you write it differently. Like you just write something completely different. And then that's when I say to you that, hey, why don't you put it? Right? And so that the kind of things that you will want to expect when we having a session together. So I kind of like mix, the technical aspect of this, as well as what you can expect when we are having the one-on-one session, right? Tips number XX. I don't know how many, the tips number what, I don't know, I can't remember anymore, but something that you want to also think about, put it on your note, because I always forget, and I like seriously like always forget. But when you come see me or see Santika, especially for the essay session, record it. Don't ask us to record from our Zoom, but record it with your phone. Just record the audio. Or if you're wearing your laptop, if you're using your laptop, well, obviously, probably you're going to use your laptop or your computer. If you have the app for recording the whole thing, then do that. Okay, record the session, because like I said, we are brainstorming it together. We're going to brainstorm together, right? And then another tip is that even if the universities that you're going to apply ask you to only write a certain number of words, so let's say just 500 words or 750, forget about all that, especially in the beginning of our sessions together. But I'm going to urge you to write as many words as possible. It's so much better when you come up with 3, 4, 5 pages than you write very few, and then you give me like very few information in the essay. So I would rather read a lot of unnecessary information than none. Okay, so that's that. I hopefully there are a number of questions here. I will time myself. I should be done with it quickly, so I'm going to kind of like go a bit quicker here. Let's see. So we're still kind of like in the introduction paragraph. Why? It's because once you kind of like understand the introduction paragraph, it's going to be very easy. It's going to go very smooth when you are on your second, third, fourth, fifth paragraph, how many paragraphs are we going to end up with, right? This is because introduction paragraph is tricky. You already know why, because like I said earlier, not all of the university's admissions committee will going to read our essay, but we want to make sure that they are going to keep reading the next paragraph and the next paragraph. So the introduction paragraph is going to be their deciding factor on whether they want to keep reading, right? It makes it really tricky because we want, and this is also my recipe, right? Like in the introduction paragraph, there's going to be a lot of things going on. So we want to give an introduction about the country. If you're talking about, obviously, about Indonesia, what is actually really going on in that specific topic that you want to fix, you want to change, or you want to innovate or whatever, why you are doing it now, why it has to be done now, why do you have to do it now to the point where you have to do master's degree, right? AKA urgency. You need to be able to show the urgency. So all that information in the introduction paragraph, right? So introduction paragraph is a mixture of a bit of everything, but then at the same time, we don't want to overwhelm the reader, but enough to wow them. So maybe if you want to kind of like, if you're writing this down at the moment, you want to kind of like write it down. We want to wow them, right? Because if we wow them, they are going to keep reading the next paragraph. And I always tell people that the fact that, this is for you guys who are in Indonesia, the fact that the story is about Indonesia, however small it is, we're talking maybe just about Jakarta or whatever, but me as an Indonesian as well, right? I found that we already have a green light. We already have we are making like a really good story here, because there's so much about this country that has so many potentials and just a lot of interesting story to tell. A lot of kind of like ironic stories that, oh, our country is, one of the biggest XX, but then we did XX, that, and then you want to kind of like match that together, and then you want to fix that, right? But then, like I said, we want to kind of like also at the same time give them an intro about the country, because remember, the reader, they may be the expert for that department, right? But then they let's assume they don't know anything about our country. So start with a glimpse about Indonesia. You can take it from like the history part of it. So for example, I'm currently working with one of my good advisees from like the early year, talking about, the human rights of the indigenous community here in Indonesia, right? It took us about more than 15 revisions to work only on the introduction paragraph. Can you believe that? But I just read her as, I don't know if she's watching, but yesterday she just came in, and then I think for the first or second time, I told her that I'm so very proud that she actually come up with like a really interesting paragraph that we worked together on. So we kind of like brainstorm it together. So in the beginning, she didn't have any history background about, how many indigenous people in Indonesia, when did this human rights issue has started and all that. So I told her, we kind of like agree, yeah, let's kind of like put the history of it, right? So, to give you an example, there are a number of my advisors, if they're on a science program, they will be talking about ring of fire, or geographically Indonesia, we have the largest archipelago in the world, right? Or maybe we have the worst performance in whatever, or we have the best performance in whatever, but then it's still not enough because of da 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 da. It's going to be your topic, that's going to be your theme, that's going to be your story, right? So now, remember, well, I mean, this is going to be my first time saying it. When you're writing this, you are not writing an academic paper. Statement of purpose is a story. So this is why I am very particular when it comes to an essay, because I don't want you to write something that is so very like headline news or very like academic paper, at least on the introduction paragraph, right? On the second paragraph and up until the end, we can kind of like sound very formal, very academic, and all that. But at least in the introduction paragraph, I want you to write something that is really interesting, very non-formal. Mix the two together, or mix the non-formal and formal together. Be bold. Be, create like a very bold statement, right? So I want a story, and I'm very particular. I'm very specific in each paragraph, and I think this is like my third, fourth time saying this. So yeah, no, another tips, like no obvious statement. I think if you hear me talking, one of my advices, Gustika, thank you for watching. Introduction paragraph is the hardest. It is very, very hard. We don't want to write something that is very obvious. Again, I may catch that, right? This statement sounds very easy to me. And I don't want to do easy on every sentence. Like seriously, I don't want to do easy. Okay. Because again, like the reason is because we want to keep wow them. We want to keep giving them information, one information to another, that they would be like, oh my God, what is this going on in these countries? You know? And this person wants to fix all this. That's the kind of, reaction that we hope we can get from the admissions committee. Okay. So yeah, you can write an history about Indonesia. What's the government's doing currently? What do the government actually really think about this issue? If this is something that the government might also wants to do, to be part of or something, right? And so in the introduction paragraph, what makes it hard, makes it challenging, is because again, like I said, it's a mixture of a bit of everything. So then we can have like an up and down tone. We want to wow the reader with like a lot of bizarre, unusual facts about the situation in Indonesia. I want you to come up with a dramatic effects using words that are interesting, like very non-formal, like ironically, and that will be the only word that I probably can know right now on top of my head, but something, and it is what makes it really hard. But then, along the way, we are going to work on this together, right? So it's kind of like a roller coaster in the introduction paragraph. We want to kind of, introduce them with how beautiful this country is, and then you drop the very crazy facts, or whatever it is, right? Be bold, voice your arguments, if any, and then you can end the introduction paragraph with questions, make them even more curious. Oh my God, what is this? Like, what is this applicants want to go with the story, and so you can also do a comparison with the US, right? Because, well, we assume that they are Americans, and then you kind of like do comparison how similar or how different these two countries is, right? So for example, like, maybe the US is the third largest democracy country, and then we come fourth. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but something like that, right? Or how about Indonesia is the third largest country, and then we are number 4. That's for sure. And then talk about, they are really big in agriculture. Indonesia is also big in agriculture. If that's kind of like the program that you want to do, right? So something that by now I want you to really keep remember is that it's a common mistake, and then I don't want you to write it, is, other than being narrative and autobiography like, is that a lot of I words and me words. So if you have your draft with you right now, after this session, probably come back to that and then circle all of the words I and all of the words me. And I found a lot of, from my advisees, a lot of that in the essay. And we want to reduce that to maybe just like 0. whatever percent in that essay. So then we don't really want to highlight, we don't want to spotlight us in the essay, right? Minimize using personal opinion and make it just very, I mean, you can, this is different if you want to kind of like want to do something that is kind of like changing policy, or maybe something that is very human rights type of programs, then yeah, you can do like personal opinion. But if it's like, something, like in the point is we want to kind of like minimize using personal opinion. Okay. So we don't put ourselves as a spotlight, but rather keep it to the Indonesia or the situation. Okay. This is also kind of like the recipe that I found along the way. Okay. I'm almost done here. But the closest way to see what I expect, at least in the introduction paragraph, is that probably by now you're kind of like, oh my God, I kind of like get it, what you mean by, a lot of stories in introduction paragraph. But then how can I write that exact introduction paragraph? The closest way to see, for me at least, is by kind of like look at the opinion section, or the opinion section of some kind of online newspaper, but then and then when I shared this, a number of my advisees shared with me a number of articles that they found online. And then I found it also interesting because I'm getting more particular now with the article. So this is something that I have not done in my previous events, I don't think. But thanks to my advisees who shared with me some of the articles, because they kind of like want to cross-check with me, like, hey, Fina, is this, what do you mean by, the kind of writing style that you were looking for? So this one advisees in particular shared with me about like 3-4 articles. And then only one that I actually really like. And then when I actually read the whole article, completely like an off topic from this advices, is that it's a comment slash opinion articles from that particular journalist, but they are being kind of cynical to the situation, if you get what I mean. So then that kind of like makes the essay kind of like very argumentative. And when I read it, I'm like, that is exactly what I look for, at least in the introduction paragraph. Okay. So like you say, like you can see it here, like just the introduction paragraph alone, I been talking about this for like about an hour now, but that's just how important the introduction paragraph is. And then once we are done with the introduction paragraph, again, like I said, moving on from that paragraph is so smooth because basically we're just continue talking what's, kind of, if the introduction paragraph is just kind of like a teaser of that particular situation, the body paragraph is going to be kind of like the continuation of that introduction paragraph. So you can kind of like now provide more data, provide more background story and what have you. Okay. And then that's going to be in the body paragraphs. And then what happens after the body paragraphs, after you are done talking about, this is why, like this needs to change now. The next paragraph would be the paragraph where you are talking about, this is why I need to continue my master's degree at this specific universities or this specific program. We're not going to say it exactly like that, but then that one specific paragraph is basically where we are going to, talk only about that particular program. What does this program has that can help you get to where you want when you are done? So that's kind of like another challenge, but normally I wouldn't be able to kind of like cover all this in just like an hour of me talking this, but then I'm not going to talk about this live like this either, because again, this is something that I think we can kind of like just talk about it when we are doing one-on-one, or maybe even like when we're doing the Q&A, if you kind of like want to know what is exactly in that paragraph. But what I'm trying to, if I can just summarize it, is basically the one paragraph that you don't want to kind of like say what other people can say, because remember, this essay has to be very different. I don't want you to say, I'm applied to NYU because it's located in the New York City. I mean, come on, man. Like everyone is saying that. I don't want you to say that anymore. It's already obvious, right? I want you to come up with, if you pick NYU for this specific program, why? Why NYU? Why that specific program and not somewhere in Colorado, for example, right? Like really talk about like what is in that program that will help you achieve your purpose. So everything is going to be connected. There is no one separate paragraph where all of a sudden you're talking about, I didn't experience volunteering teaching English. We don't want any of that. Everything is going to be connected. Okay. Let's see. You know what? I think let me stop there because I can't, like I look at a lot of questions here. And so I kind of like want to stop here and then just hear from you guys what we have. So that being said, we still have some time. That being said, I want to call up my colleague Santika. So hi Santika, how are you doing and how are we doing in Zoom?
Hi, Fina, and everyone here who is watching right now. Thank you so much. Thanks, Fina, for your talk. It was amazing, and I'm sure it opened a lot of ideas for our participants today. Oh my God, I'm stuck here because I'm in the chat box. So yeah, we have a lot of participants tonight, and I think we reached at least 80 here in Zoom. And if you're watching us from YouTube, Twitter, or Instagram Live, feel free to send us questions through the comment box. And if you're in Zoom, you can use the chat box, which we already received a few or quite plenty by now, Fina. And we have some interesting questions as you talk and share your those informations for writing a good personal essay or statement of purpose. And the first one is actually, I want to start with Herman, because I think this has to do with the structure of the essay a lot. And this is what we are going to review when our advisees come in to us to ask for a review session, right? So Herman here kind of like summarized two most important parts or points that you stress tonight. It's demonstrating a passion for the chosen topic, and two, demonstrate a clear career goals. So the question for these two parts are, please explain further and precisely in what paragraph of section or section we should include these points. So where should I like write about my passion and my topic? When should I start, writing that in the essay? Is it like from the introduction or like later on?
Demonstrating a passion for the chosen topic. So the way I look at that, I'm sorry, like it just kind of like took me just a few seconds to kind of like really understand the questions. Demonstrating a passion for the chosen topic, the way I look at it, it's kind of like comes back to talking about you, which actually we don't want, but it's actually kind of unnecessary at this point, because let's put this aside, right? Let's not talk about like you demonstrating your passion for this specific topic, but instead you're just dive right into it, talking about Indonesia as the largest blah, blah, blah. Currently, we have, a huge problem because we need to because if the government's not doing anything by this 2030, 20 whatever, Indonesia will be the first country that You see what I'm saying here? You are dive right into the problem. And then you continue doing that for the rest of the essays, where there is no part when you're talking about, I'm choosing this passion, I'm choosing this topic is because, again, actually, the way I look at it, it's not that we don't want to say it, it's just that it's unnecessary at this point. But you just like dive right into it. It's actually already it's already obvious. By the time the readers is done with your essay, you are going to do that. You're going to do all that, right? Without even demonstrating that. So that's kind of like how I see it. So let me know what you think, Herman, if you kind of like get what I'm saying here. Demonstrate the clear career goals, because this is a good one, because basically there are, a number of universities, they put the prompt, right? Like they ask you to write a statement of purpose, and then they have like the specific question in that, and it's always about clear career goals. I don't specifically kind of like have specific paragraph when you're talking about career goals, because again, the structure that I come up with is already kind of like set, so that without the reader trying to find, okay, where is your passion here, or where is exactly your career goals here, they already get it, right? But on the second point here, the way I kind of like look at it is going to be actually surprisingly in the conclusion paragraph, because the conclusion paragraph is usually where, I know that I have not talked about conclusion paragraph tonight, but normally in the conclusion paragraph is when we want to kind of like show them the action plan. So it's kind of like a narrative if you think about it, but it's a different kind of narrative. It's not the autobiography narrative, but it's a narrative of the situation. That's why if you can talk about the history first, or maybe just kind of like a glimpse about Indonesia, what is actually really going on now, why it has to be done now, when do you want to be done with this situation, it's kind of like a narrative. And then we close it with a conclusion paragraph where you are going to sound very ambitious. You don't have to really worry about that now, because I know this information tonight probably going to overwhelm you already, but don't worry, we're going to kind of like go through this together during one-on-one. But yeah, in the conclusion paragraph is when you want to kind of like show your action plan. The way I look at it, that's kind of like your career goals right there, right, Santika?
Yeah. So I think for like, if you ask me or Fina, like, when should I mention this? Which paragraph should I put this in? We won't be able to tell you if we haven't read your essay. That's the first thing. The second one is that we try our best to incorporate everything that the prompt asks, that you answer everything that the prompt or the question and the requirements ask you to write, and in a very interesting way, which you don't really feel like it's kind of like it's not planned. Jadi kayak flowing aja gitu. Jadi bukan yang kayak paragraf pertama aku cuma ngomongin A, B, C. Paragraf kedua aku ngomonginnya DEF gitu. Jadi it's not something that you have to cut like that. It's something that continues. So in the first introduction paragraph, you can mention about maybe something about an issue. Maybe you live in not in Jakarta. You live in a very remote areas, and it's just so different when you travel to Jakarta. You feel like it's a whole new different world, and then you can continue to talk about it triggers you to maybe make something in your hometown that is probably very crucial, that is available already in Jakarta, and so why not it should be available at your place, right? So then you can continue to the second paragraph saying maybe you already done something within your capabilities or your expertise or your work, which connects it to your kind of qualifications, because a lot of universities also ask for, okay, your qualifications, how ready you are for this program, what have you, how this program can help you, realize your goals in personal goal and in professional goals. So those things, all of them are connected. We cannot just choose like, okay, I'm just going to talk about this in this paragraph. We can do that at certain point, but if you want it to flow, you cannot just like limit it strictly just this topic and that topic. So you have to make it flow, and I think that's how we're gonna help you if that's your concern. What you have to do is basically know what you want to do and try to write it down, because if you don't know on what you want to do or what you want to achieve in the first place, Vina and I are not going to like be a fortune teller and like, oh, I think you you can do very well
and in a year I would probably say we only, okay, so let me just kind of like give you kind of like a glimpse of how many people come see us. Yes, Antika, I just pulled up this report, this data the other day, and I'm like, whoa, all right. So we kind of like see about 300 people ish in a year, Santika and I, right? Santika, is that the right number that I say? About 300. So you can imagine now, right, guys? About 300 of you guys come see me. And probably I would say only 1 or 2 people out of that 300 that don't know exactly what they want to do. And that's only 1 or 2. Can you imagine that? So the rest of you guys actually already know what you want to do, which is always a great start. So keep it up. It's just that writing it, putting it into paper is going to be the hardest part. But then that's why we are here. That's why you are watching the session. Okay.
All right. So Vina, I think we had, like last year, we had, even during the pandemic, we had 730-ish.
No way.
So if we divide that into 2 of us, each of us actually met at least 350.
Oh, okay. So I got the number, because I kind of like, I don't think it's 300. I think it's
I know
more,
it's crazy,
I kind of like afraid.
And I double checked it because it just sounded crazy. But yeah. So if you guys come to us very last minute for the first time, and you ask Vina or me to review your essay, and the deadline is like 1 month away, the chances are you will be, competing with other advisees that have met us before, and we are just not able to maybe squeeze our time really for you to catch your deadline. So we really recommend everyone to come in early. Vina.
Yeah. Okay, and I'm reading, a number of kind of like follow-up questions, which I like. So all right, so what
go ahead.
Will be the next one, Santika? From Titus Ogi Gazarda Anan, long name. But thank you for watching the session. So if someone said they want to stay in the US after graduate, their probability of getting accepted will be commensurately going down. Oh, that's a good one. First of all, if you're saying that, the way I look at it is that your story is not going to be as interesting as if you want to come back to Indonesia, because then that kind of essays, you will be competing with the locals. Now, this is different, guys. When we are talking about we competing with the locals, as in like the Americans, well, obviously they're going to probably come up with a whole better essays because they're native and all that, right? So that's going to be a whole different story. I mean, if you want to kind of like have that kind of story, by all means, I'm not going to stop you, but we don't have that, yeah, Santika. I mean, I don't remember any of my advisors who would, I mean, I know some advisors who would kind of like just verbally share with me that, hey, yeah, I mean, if I get the opportunity to stay in these states, I would love that, but never putting it into the essay. So I don't really have like the concrete, like the right answer for this one, but that's how I look at it. If you want to kind of like put that in your essay, yeah, the way I look at it, you're going to compete with the locals, because then obviously, right, like the locals, they do masters, so that probably they just kind of like, you know, stay in the country or something. So
Right. So the way I do it with my advisee who have that kind of plans is that I give them a reality check. Like, okay, so how likely it is after you graduate that you are going to get a job outside of OPT. So if you are aiming for the OPT, you can just write it down, which is good. It shows that you do your research, and maybe after the OPT, the chances of you getting, you know, full-time job with, you know, a different visa, which is like working visa, is just very, very low. So I just give them a reality check and give, encourage them to put in a different pathway in the essay. So maybe after the OPT, you will, you know, you can get the working experience there as an OPT, as under the student visa. And then maybe you want to try to come back to advance your career. So that's a kind of like a win-win, and see if they kind of like have the interest to do that. But most of the time they will just, you know, write that in the essay. And yeah, so far I haven't met someone who is really, you know, keen on, you know, writing that they want to stay in the States, because I don't see the benefit, even if you write that down as an international student. So yeah, hope that answers.
Yeah. So Santika, I'm kind of like looking at the other questions that kind of like in the previous ones, and if that's okay, I would love to kind of like just answer it real quick. So
Sure.
so from Kia, hopefully still watching, is it okay to book? And you know, Santika's already answered, but I'm just gonna like share it just in case someone has also wondered. Is it okay to book one-on-one advising session if I haven't written my SOP? I'm still a bit confused about which schools I want to apply. The answer is absolutely, because essay writing that we are having tonight is just one aspect of the kind of service that we provide. And I think I forgot to mention, all of our services, by the way, guys, if this is your first time, is free of charge. I know it sounds too good to be true. Like you can see that probably by now that, oh my God, like we're going to go deep when it comes to essay writing, to the point where I keep saying it over and over again that we are going to work on it together, but I'm not going to charge you or anything. This is going to be like purely, it's going to be free of charge, right? So absolutely, essay writing is just only one aspect, but we actually, and you know, I didn't give you the brief information about like who we are in the beginning, just because I want to save time. But maybe later on, if as a closing part, I'm going to talk a little bit about that, or maybe not. But yeah, basically what I'm going to share with you is that we have like these 5 steps, and then basically from whichever level are you currently in with your application process, you can always come see us. Okay. From Media Francisca, Havina, would you please share some tips to speak English fluently?
I mean, we slip our tongue all the time.
Yeah, so Santika marks it green for some of the questions, means that, okay, let's discuss it. But then why would you have this green? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I think it's definitely years in the making. I happen to basically just kind of, you know, I talk somewhat better than writing. So this is kind of like the irony of this whole thing. I love reading. I know when I read good essays and when I read a not good essay, but then sometimes my advices make me kind of like, I don't know how to do it exactly. When they ask me, can you just give me an example? Just one sentence on how do you mean by you wanting me to write a certain way? And then my answer would be, I don't know. I just have it in my head, but then I don't know why. If you know, so that's like what it means by me saying that it's actually going to be hard working with me in a way when it comes to essay. But I mean, the majority of my advisees made it through. But yeah, I'm not actually really good at writing, and that's also why I'm not confident. I'm far from confident in checking on your grammatical errors. But yeah, I mean, thank you, but yeah, I just happen to, you know, kind of speak better than
For me, for me, English is about, and I think other language as well. It is applicable to for other languages as well. Is that you use the language and kind of like if you use it, it's kind of like you practice it. So for Fina and me, we try our best to talk English more often, even with our advisees. So don't be kind of like surprised if you
Yeah,
come in and we talk in English. It's because
and
you want to go to the States, right? So
yeah. And I mean, I'm telling you guys, I mean, I know that this is like very early stage. Probably some of you are just like in a very in a state where, okay, I have you we have not seen each other, although I see some of my advices here, which thank you so much for watching. But some of you who are still new, we are going to have this journey like for some times now, depending on the deadline, obviously. But I want to tell you right now that when we are done with this essay, and then, you know, fingers crossed, you're going to get accepted to your dream universities, it's all you're doing. I mean, a lot of my advice is, you know, like, Fina, thank you so much for this. And I'm like, no, it's your work. You know, I'm just here to push you more. I'm so like 100% proud of you guys for able to come up with that kind of languages. Like, you just get what I want without me telling you exactly how to write it, if you get what I mean, right? Because I'm just so bad at writing. But for some reason, when I kind of like verbally saying it, although sometimes it doesn't make sense because I'm kind of like go, you know, here and there, you just get it somehow. And then you come up with something that, oh my God, this is exactly what I want to read, you know? And so, yeah. Okay, let's move on to another one. Blah, 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 from Batoro Aji.
okay.
You've been talking about essays for masters and PhD, as I understand, correct? Would it be the same for other programs, say exchange cultures or others? No. So first of all, we don't. It's going to be different with, well, or maybe it is kind of like the same with, let's say, scholarship essays. I know that you're not asking about scholarship, but I'm just going to repeat this again. We're not going to read any scholarship essays. But yeah, the way I look at it, if it's like a short exchange programs, maybe instead of me saying no, I prefer just to say I don't know. But just to give you a heads up, Batoro, we don't read exchange culture program, and we have Yasan just a little bit, just a few number of people come see us and they want us to kind of like read their Waisili essay. If you're familiar with that, it's a State Department program or some kind of other short programs, and then unfortunately we have to, you know, like say no to that. So that's that. And then
I think we can do one from Nani. When I talk about finding passion in the introduction of my essay, because of my background, education is not matching with my study purpose for the master degree. But after that, in the body paragraph, I put specific my career, which will match the pursuing for the next degree. How about that?
Yeah, kind of I get this question. So you actually raised a really good question, Nani. Thank you for that. This is actually a really good news. This whole thing about statement of purpose. Remember when I said that we're not going to put a spotlight on you. We are going to minimize the words I, the words me, and we just want to stay in the situation in that essay. It's actually a really good news for you guys who actually have or want to take a program that is not linear to your previous study, right? Because in a way, we don't really have to kind of like state that specifically unless the university is really asking that on their prompt. Then we probably kind of like want to. It's rare. It's rare. So Nani, I think I prefer to just kind of like see like what major that you want to take. Is there any specific prompts from that university? Oh, I think I missed this, guys. If you're still watching this, which I hope you're still watching, so you're not leaving, right? Okay, we still have like a lot of participants. But another tip that I missed to forget to tell you is that when you share with me your draft, please copy paste the prompt from the universities. If they don't have any prompts, like they don't have any like short explanation of what they're looking for in the essay, well, just say it to me. Like they don't say anything, you know, they just say submit statement of purpose, or they say submit essay. If that being the case, it's safe to say that we are going to use this recipe of mine, this specific structure that we discussed tonight. But then if they have the short paragraph explaining what they want to have in the essay, I need to read that. But then I want to say that 98% of that prompt would be the exact structure. I mean, the way I look at it would be the exact structure that I share with you tonight. Okay, but I just need that because there are a number of programs where they have a very specific question. So yeah, Nani, I hope that answers. So yeah, basically you don't have to worry, and you don't even have to try to match or try too hard to kind of like tell them that, oh, I have like a different kind of like, background, whatever, unless they ask. Okay.
Yeah. So I think next we can, give a short answer for Muhammad in Instagram, how to manage the struggle of deciding to a master double degree in making statement of purpose. Any tips to make effective research for two majors at the same time? I think for double degree, it's like both. You cannot like just choose one. And that's the idea of double degree. Right, Fina?
Yeah,
what do you think?
but maybe, I mean, I have not had any advisees who wants to do masters and or PhD with two double degrees, but I've never had that for 5-6 years I've been here. However, I have advisees where they have their plan A is to actually apply to, let's say, MBA, and their background is, let's say, I don't know, this is just kind of like me, kind of like on top of my head. Their background is engineering, and then they want to study masters for MBA. That's their plan A. And then their plan B is that if they don't get accepted to MBA programs, they are going to move on to engineering management, for example. Well, it's kind of like similar, right, when it comes to the essay, but then of course we want to modify that a little bit. It's not going to be exactly the same. Or I think I also have a number of advices where there are some of my advisors who have a somewhat completely different majors, and then we can't make one essay for those two programs. We have to make a different one for that is suitable to that specific maybe kind of like borrow a little bit on the story, but then not exactly the same. Hopefully that makes sense.
Yeah, that totally makes sense, Fina. Thank you for adding that. And we have another one from William. It has to be always an issue, or it can be also a personal experience.
Really good question.
For me,
for
me, short answer is yes. How about you, Fina?
The short answer is yes. It has to be always an issue.
No, it doesn't have to always be an issue, but it can also
absolutely.
Be
absolutely.
Experience.
It doesn't always have to be an issue. I have my advisors who want to study film, and then when I ask, it's because, well, our film industry is not like it's doing bad, but then I want to make it better. It's not really an issue, right? So he wants to kind of like innovate. So again, it's not always an issue, but I know that tonight I've been talking about like, so much about an issue, but it's just because the majority of my advices is always have something that is really going on with the country, with this specific topic or this specific department of the government or something like that. And so, but not so much on using personal experience though. I mean, I would say, but then I definitely have an advisees that talks from their personal experience, but it's not common. But if you do have very unusual personal experience, let's talk about it, right? Because it's very rare that we have a very different and unique personal experience that enough to wow the reader. I'm not saying that your personal experience, however important for you, is not going to be good, but then again, we just kind of like want to be careful as well when we kind of like talk about personal experience. Okay, I hope that makes sense. It will make so much more sense when we do the one-on-one session. Exactly. Which, by the way, William Shakespeare, whoever you are always watching our session, which I thank you very much, but I have never seen you in Zoom, or have you? I don't know. So let's arrange some time to talk whenever you are ready. No pressure. But thank you for the question, though.
All right, so we have another question. This is from Audrey. So, hi Santika and Fina, thanks for reviewing my resume anyway. Yes, guys, we do CV or resume review as well, and that is also one of our monthly events like this.
We're going to have it in 2 weeks from now.
Yeah, so we can talk about that one later on during the event. And this one, her next question is, for the essay, they have a different approach, only 150 words and giving 6 pictures. Anything about me or my values? Do you have any recommendations? I think it's gonna be hard to write short with some unnecessary hooks. So yeah.
Oh yeah, it is hard. Like seriously, guys, if you
150 words. Wow.
Yeah, if you get a university and then they said 150, don't be happy. Like seriously, don't be happy. It is actually really hard. I'm currently working with one of my advisees who I think exactly 150 words. Super hard. We are. I think we still need a couple of session. That being said, like I said in the beginning, is that don't worry about the 150 words. And hopefully this is not the only university that you're going to apply and the only university that asks for 150 words. Hopefully there are universities that you're going to apply that require just kind of like a normal length of words on the essay, because so then we can kind of like focus on that essay, kind of like write it a lot. And then when we are done with that long essay, then we focus on this 150 by cutting a big chunk of the essay from that, the whatever page that we're going to have, 500, 750 words or what have you. Pictures, I've never heard. I mean, I don't know. Do you want to study?
Yeah, very unique, right?
Yeah, so that's something that we can probably just kind of like do it one-on-one. So,
exactly.
Yeah, just pick.
Yeah, you should come in for 101, Audrey, because I think your case is a bit different. Not like general cases where they give you a prompt and that's it, but you also need to submit pictures. So
yep,
we can talk about that in the 101. And I think last question of tonight, despite of we still receiving questions in the Zoom, is from Rahmat. Thanks, Vina and Santika. The highlight things. Okay, I'm just gonna take the questions. Is it possible by ending the paragraph or the essay with a statement or hypothesis of what we are looking to solve?
What we are looking to solve? No, because maybe I kind of like a bit confused on the question, but basically what we want in the conclusion paragraph is it can definitely be a statement, but it's kind of like a statement as if we are done with the whole career goals and the whole ending goals, like more so, because in the beginning, right, we're talking about, so this is what is going on, this is Indonesia, this is what's going on, this is what we need to do it now, this is what the government is doing currently, we need to do this and that to fix it, that is why I need to study in your campus. And then in the ending, it's more like we move forward to whatever years that you are looking this issue to be done. So maybe you are saying in the beginning that we need to reach this goal by 2030 to kind of like follow the SDG, right? Or whatever. And so in the conclusion paragraph, we talk about what is going to happen in 2030, right? That's what I mean by sound very ambitious. Again, this is something that I know that I haven't talked about during the session tonight because we don't really have much time. But again, you don't really have to worry about that. But yeah, it's not, because when you're saying that the hypothesis, what we are looking for to solve, is kind of like the way I look at it, it should be in the beginning.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's not like we are still questioning. We want the ending to be kind of like, this is what's going to happen. Indonesia by 2045 will be the first country that will do that kind of ambitious that I'm looking for. It is kind of hard, but then again, don't worry about it now. I don't want to overwhelm you because I already am overwhelming you. Kind of like take some time to take this all information with you, and then whenever you are ready, see me or see Santika, right? So let's close this, Santika. I think this is, like I love this session tonight. I love the questions. Thank you guys so much for watching. I mean, I'm looking, a lot of participants tonight. Just a heads up, this is going to be very crowded from here on in Zoom. It means that Santika, we are going to see a lot of advices coming in, and well, hopefully, obviously, we're going to see more of you guys. But just be mindful that maybe there are a couple of situation where we can't have you in Zoom because we don't have the time yet. But keep trying. Basically, we are available every 7 days a week from 1 until 9. Santika and I, we are kind of like break the shift into 2. So Santika is doing 1 to 5. I will be doing 5 to 9. So whichever time preference that you want, pick one advisee. So don't go see us for an essay review so that we can multiply the advisees even more by doing that. Okay. But yeah, so again, Batoro, basic talking about Community College Initiative Program. I know CCIP from Fulbright. Unfortunately, we don't read that essay as well. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, basically let's end this session by me thanking one and every one of you for watching this session, not only here in Zoom. I wish I could see you guys from different platforms. If you missed the beginning, the first part, don't worry, just probably give it a couple of hours and then it's going to be up on YouTube and then you can, watch it again. I will be giving this presentation every single month, so we are definitely going to have this again every month. The reason is because although mostly I will be talking about the same thing, but then like I said, my recipe is never ended. It means that I'm going to keep learning about new things. I can't remember, but I feel that tonight I'm giving you kind of like new things that I've never shared before. So feel free to kind of like come back next month if your deadline is still kind of like next year, or maybe you still have some times. But again, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Santika, for be active in chat, helping me, and kind of like interact with the advisee, the audience. I look forward in having you guys again. We are going to check out our upcoming events. We are going to have an introduction to TOEFL. Just a heads up, it's not going to be a full prep class. This is an introduction to TOEFL. We are going to have 4 sessions every Saturday, starting this coming Saturday. Go check out on Ademerica's website. On the 19th, Santika and I, we are going to give a different topic that is also equally important. That is the resume, CV, and letters of recommendation. But of course, I always like to start with an essay because I love this topic. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you, Santika. Thank you, Ademerica team. Thank you, everyone. Have a good evening. And I'm going to give it back to our amazing e-guide, Anida.
Thank you so much to Kak Vina and Kak Santika for today's very informative session. It's been great having you with us, as always. Earlier in this event, we asked our audience, the question was, true or false when writing statement of purpose, or SOP, it must have a title. And the correct answer is false. There is no need to title your SOP until it is considered in the requirements provided by the educational institution. Shout out to @Bunga Sri Hidayat from Instagram for answering correctly. Thank you to everyone who has participated to our trivia. Don't forget to tune in next time to catch a chance to get a live shout out from us. As I mentioned earlier in this event, @America is having a very special activity this August called #Academania, and we are so looking forward to your participation in it. We are giving out a voucher for the TOEFL IBT test and another American standardized test of your choice. To know more about this activity and how to join, you can visit atam.tv/academania. For those who missed it, we have revealed the first keyword at the opening of our event today, but since we are as excited as you are, let us reveal it again. The first keyword can be found by going to this link below, atam.tv/academania1. Remember, this link is time limited, so the sooner you get, the better. Good luck, everyone. Now you may be wondering, how can I develop an awesome idea for a place like this? Easy. You can send an event proposal to us by visiting our website at www.america.org and select create a program. Go collaborate with us. All the proposals event coming to us will be reviewed and your event might be featured here soon. You can also subscribe to our newsletter here to get our weekly event updates. Well, that wraps this episode. It's been fun. Unfortunately, we have to say goodbye. Follow our Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at @America for all our event updates, fun content, and so much more. Also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thanks for joining. Again, my name is Aninda, and see you next time on @America TV.